Welcome, So-La-Rah here. I hope that you're doing well. Thank you to all of my newest subscribers. Welcome. Thank you to those of you who are still here, especially those of you who've been here from the beginning. I appreciate all of you, no matter what time you've jumped on the train. You're here, and we're moving forward. Yes. I wasn't going to come on tonight, and I probably won't be on for too long. I say that all the time, I know, but I'm trying to get this message out and let it be succinct. I don't really have notes. It's not a reading. It's more of a downloads, but also a teaching, or a reaffirming and confirming some things for you. My guides have had me go back into some of my old daily alchemy slides. I had an Instagram account. It's still up as an archive. It's at Daily Alchemy with a K, where I used to write on the daily, but I also used to share things about how to deal with your energy field. And they had me go back to some of that stuff. I will be reposting some of those slides here on YouTube, but if you want to see the fullness of it, you can check out the Instagram at Daily Alchemy. For those of you, while I'm remembering this, also, I am having an open week at the Daily Alchemy portal, which is the membership portal that I created. I think it was like September of last year, and where I post 5 channeled writing messages a week that I'll share intermittently, 1 or 2 here on the YouTube space, but that's my membership writing portal. And I'm moving Daily Alchemy off of Instagram onto another platform. And as such, I am opening up the account for the week. So if you guys are interested, Thursday the 15th to the 22nd of June, I will be posting new messages, new channeled writings. I will be doing 5 or 6 writings in that time that I will post, and you can get a taste of what the portal is. It's going to be a little bit different moving forward, but you can still get a taste of what it is that I do in that area of my work. Moving forward, I am drastically slashing the price because it's time to make it more accessible. While it was in its incubating phase, when I was first growing it, I was given the instructions on what price to set and to keep it quite small based upon the price. But I'm bringing it down because the consciousness of the collective has spread enough, and it's safe enough for these messages to be more, it's not in the public space, but it can be more better received and better received maybe on another platform too. But either way, I will be relaunching Daily Alchemy, and so I will let you guys know about the platform and when that's going to happen, and the new membership price, and how you can become a member of the portal. But please avail yourself of the messages that I will be posting there from this Thursday onwards. All you have to do to join is go over to Instagram if you have an account and follow me at Daily Alchemy Portal. The account is still on private, but on the 15th it will go live, and you will also have access to all of the other writings since I think September. So it's kind of everything's archived, and you will have access to those writings too. So I say all of this because, to go back to what I was originally speaking about, they had me going back to some of my original work that I did for the collective in terms of explaining about energy, and especially utilizing the power of the vibrational scale. And if you listen to my message that I posted on Saturday over the weekend, there's been a lot of information coming through to me about, and others, not just me, but it's been coming through about how we are elevating at this point. We are clearing certain energies within our field that have kept us from being able to fully open our heart chakras, and therefore to be able to activate our multi-dimensional gifts, our multi-dimensional beings, states of being. In order to do that, we must open the heart. Your heart is a stargate. In order to access the fullness of who you are, your heart must be as light as a feather. This is what the Egyptian law of Ma'at is kind of about. Now, this time of the year is always very interesting. It's very tricky because they love to utilize the power of Gemini energies. And somebody asked me who they was. And for clarity's sake, when I say they, I'm speaking about the false architects of this matrix system, which is ultimately an enslavement program. An enslavement program based upon narcissistic templates that have been designed to energy harvest us and to keep us in perpetual loops and cycles, always feeling like we're going somewhere but really going nowhere. Okay, we weren't designed to be like that, which is how they harvest our energy also, but I'm not going to go into all of that. But to clarify, for whoever asked me that, that is the they I'm responding to. So they use these Gemini energies, which are the 8, 9, and 10 of swords in the tarot, the lovers, which has to do with your divine contract, and of course the magician, which is that Mercury energy that is the ruling planet of Gemini, to really up the power of their mental magic. And the reason for this is because every Gemini season is a time where we either renew certain divine contracts, or we enter a higher level whereby we can access certain I guess, privileges of our divine contract that were not available to us before because of where we were energetically. Gemini season gives you the opportunity to up level. And as such, the mental fuckery that they try to send towards us is designed to keep us in states of confusion, and mainly to continue to propagate energies of war within, so that we therefore create that fragmented energy in our reality. Remember, we are creating the world that we live in. The world that we live in is a reflection of our individual energy fields expressing themselves collectively. So it's been these beings' whole plan all along to keep us in fragmented states, at war with self, so we therefore would be at war with one another, and we would stay fragmented and stay looping and not healing, never really progressing on this hamster wheel. And then right now, because we also have a very strong Mars and Leo energies, Venus in Leo, Lilith in Leo, Chiron in Aries, a lot of fire happening right now also, that when utilized correctly can help to burn away some of these lower resonances that are attacking but are also wanting to stay in our fields. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that tonight. I want to talk to you guys about anger, because you know, as a spiritual being, a lot of us have come from backgrounds where we have been severely victimized. You know, a lot of us fell into the narcissistic empath template, where neither party is 100% innocent or 100% guilty. You know, it takes two to create and sustain an energy. Okay. But I will say that a lot of divine beings find themselves on the empath side of that energy. And as such, they get very used to being trampled on, to being, you know, talked down to. They get used to, we got used to, I should say, we got used to being discounted, overlooked. We got used to begging for attention and love. We got used to having our woundedness exploited. We got used to our sensitivity being used against us, and we got used to shutting up and just taking it. And then we enter into spirituality, and we're told that we need to be high vibrational, love and light, right? But here's the thing, and I've spoken about this before, this is a, getting to higher states of being is a journey. And when you begin on that journey, you oftentimes have a very dirtied up energy field, and you have to start cleaning up house. And that begins by taking full ownership. First of all, recognizing what is yours and what is others, and taking full ownership for what is yours and respectfully returning that which doesn't belong to you, so you can begin to become familiar with the truth of your energy. And then you're going to start shifting into a place where it's going to be time to protect what it is, protect the energetic resonance that you have cleared and fought to get back into connection with, as you continue to move higher and continue to clear, you know, deeper densities And it may become a little bit easier to recognize and to do after practice, but the job still continues of the clearing of our fields and the calling back of our pieces. And I want to I want to bust a myth, a spiritual myth that keeps many divine beings locked out of their own heart chakras. We are told that we are supposed to be high vibrational and not to kind of respond to other people's negativity. And yes, to a certain degree, and this is where it becomes very personal, because you must know yourself and you must be honest and you must discern your energy and you must discern what you're doing. And the only way you really can do that is if you know yourself. To a certain degree, that is true. But then there comes a time where not responding actually becomes a block. Okay, and it becomes a block because what you're actually doing is giving in to old patterns of woundedness where you shut up and you betrayed yourself and you didn't speak. And a lot of these energies that want to come at people right now want to get into your energy fields by any means necessary. And they utilize the energy of these spiritual concepts of you not supposed to, like, you're supposed to be in love and light and high vibrational. They utilize all of these things against you. So they'll come and try and poke at you and expect you to just take it. You're not supposed to just sit down and take something. Now, if what a person says or does doesn't bother you, then leave it alone. But one thing that so many of us got used to was having people, abuse us with their words and their actions and not saying anything because we were afraid to rock the boat. And we bring that same energy into spirituality, and we think what we're doing is that we're being high vibrational, but you're not high vibrational if the vibration you're holding is sullied by repressed emotions. And I want to speak on that today because there's a lot of energies that are wanting to express into your fields right now. Remember, Gemini energy is mental energy. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of wanting to implant words and implant seeds. And when a person does that, what they're trying to do is plant themselves in your energy. And so what your job is as a protector of your fields is to remove their seeds. And you remove them in the way that feels right and feels comfortable to you, in a way where you still maintain your energetic integrity, but you raise your vibration back to what it should have been before they trespassed with their words, with their opinions, with their judgments. Okay, I hope I'm making sense. So I brought today my trusty vibrational scale. Those of you who have been, chilling with me for a while, you know all about my vibrational scale. You can find the vibrational scale if you just go to any search engine. I use DuckDuckGo, and you just put in vibrational scale image, it will come up. This is my painting, okay, of it. And I'm going to actually post on the community board. I'm going to start posting some of the teachings that I was sharing with the collective about a year ago, because another thing that's very interesting is, and I've said this before I get into this, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. These energies are cyclical. They work on a calendar. They work with astrology, but they also work with the energetic almost overlays that have become a part of the collective culture due to our own behavior and what we do every year, if that makes sense. And so if you look back at every time, if you look back on your own timeline, or you look back even at the collective timeline, this time of the year often is a time of a lot of even without the Mars and Leo, just a Gemini energy and that Sagittarius moon. There's always, and the Sagittarius energy encourages us to purge things that aren't true, okay? Purge it by fire, right? So there's always a lot of anger. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was around this time in 2020 where we had all of the situation in the US with a lot of the race hate crimes. And it happened right before the eclipse. And of course, a lot of this stuff is engineered because they like to use these energies to rile people up even more. But you should be very aware that this time of the year, you will be dealing, for as long as you're in this matrix system, you will be dealing with energies that will want to make you angry in order to have you repress. And the reason for that is because, like I said, Gemini is the energy that begins to help you to solidify the energies for your divine contracts for the year ahead. But as you move into Cancer and Leo season, it's about connecting the heart, which is Leo energy ultimately, with the mind, which is Gemini energy, bringing them into sublimation, which is then better expressed through Virgo, which then again brings us back to the Mercury energy, but it's grounded because Virgo is an earth sign. Okay, so because of that, because your heart chakra, your stargate, cannot properly open or access your certain parts of your contracts with certain blocks. The whole point of these energies is to get you riled up, but not have you express it, to have you repress it, to have you hold on to those things in your fields so you create your own blocks. I want to be very clear with you tonight. When you have anger, okay, anger is not a bad thing. Anger shows you where you need to stand up for yourself and place a boundary. Anger shows you where your boundaries have been overstepped. Anger shows you where you've been disrespected. But the important thing is to properly express that anger in a way that brings honor to you and doesn't cause you to fall into states of shame. Okay, because when we don't express our anger properly, we fall into shame. And so this is what this energy wants you to do. It wants you to either repress that anger, okay, so that you it crystallizes in your field, because that's what happens. Anything that is repressed, any emotion that is repressed. Remember, emotion is connected to the element of water. Water is a crystalline structure. When you do not properly express what it is that you are feeling, you are creating blocks in the entirety of your energy field, but it manifests itself quite often the most in the water chakras, and the heart, of course, would be the main one. But the water chakras are also the third eye, because it causes confusion in how it is you should be. And how you should show up in the world, because it connects you a lot of the time. It brings you all the way down on the vibrational scale to shame. And also the sacral chakra, which is your ability to birth your reality. So whenever you don't express what it is that you're feeling, you block the flow of your emotional body. And everything that you manifest into the physical comes through the waters, comes through your emotional fields. So if your emotional fields are clogged up or blocked, you are either creating delay energy, or you are not birthing what it is you want, because the fields are not clear to bring that energy forth. I hope I'm making sense. So these energies here either want you to overexpress your anger and take you into shame. But for many of you, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be that it wants you to underexpress your anger and hold on to that energy until it crystallizes. And I fall into the latter camp, which is why I get this very, very well. And I was often told, when I began therapy, 20 years ago, I was told that depression, because I went into therapy originally for clinical depression, because they love to pin all of their shit on you and then make it seem as if it's you with the issue, when really you're just the holder of their fucked upness. But when I went into therapy 20 years ago, they would say to me that depression is anger turned inwards. And it is. It's very true. You know, so if you don't express that anger, if you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't articulate what you're feeling, if you don't put people who try to incite certain energies or try to come into your fields or trespass or try to get a rise out of you, if you don't put them back into their rightful energetic place, it's almost like you're contracting yourself to a block. Okay, so I want to show you the trusty vibrational scale. And I'm going to go through every single resonance, okay? So at the very bottom, we have shame, which is the lowest density emotionally, okay? It's the energy that is the hardest one to shift because it's so heavy. If it helps you, if you're more scientifically minded, you can think of the vibrational scale as the states of matter when you're dealing with water, because really the vibrational scale has to do with how you learn how to maintain the integrity of balance within your own energy field by alchemizing your emotions. This is what it's about, okay? So every single emotion here has a purpose. There's not one that is bad. It's just there to help you come back into balance with your truth and yourself, so that you can then therefore live in these higher states, which are love, joy, and peace. So the vibrational scale is ultimately here to help you learn how to properly express and alchemize your emotions to keep yourself in balance. And so therefore, and this is very important too, therefore, the way that you alchemize yourself and your emotions, it's going to be extremely personal. It's going to be based upon your own emotional makeup in general, your personality, but also very importantly, it's going to be based upon your experiences and your trauma. Okay, so for some of you, you know, like some of us can have the same kind of experience. Maybe you grew up with like in a narcissistic household where you were not allowed to speak your mind. And for some people, that causes them to be constantly angry and constantly snapping. And for other people, it causes them to shut down. And for some people, it causes a mixture of both. You and you alone will know, but you will know when an energy comes into your fields if it doesn't feel right, if it puts you off balance in any way. It needs to be explored as to why. And when you explore as to why, then you have to find the way that suits you best. So I'm going to give you an example. So I get, you know, random fucked up comments here on YouTube, okay? I get majority, I don't ever want to discount that, I get majority beautiful responses, and I'm so grateful for the collective I have here and your support. But I get every now and again these beings or robots that like to implant their energies into my fields. And as a person who has had another channel and I overlooked all of that stuff, I know how insidious that can be. And so I've learned how, when I see that, I have to deal with it before it gets out of hand. Okay, now in the beginning, every now and again, I'll go off on a person, I will. But a lot of the time, I'll hold it back. I'll hold it back and I'll be like, no, I don't want to be mean, yada, yada, yada. And my guides will say, what do you mean you don't want to be mean? You're not going after a person. They've come into your fields. They've disrespected you. Stand up and say something. And a lot of times I won't. And even at the times where I do get riled up enough to say something, I still oftentimes will walk away feeling guilty. And that's to do a lot with my woundedness. So my guide said to me, so turn it around and make it a thing of humor. And so that's how I'm going to deal with these things from now on. You come into my fields with your shit, I'm just going to roast you. And I'm going to laugh it off, because that's what helps to maintain the balance within my fields that you came in and tried to steal. Okay? And when I say you, I'm not talking about the genuine souls out there. I'm talking about the trolls, right? But when I had this breakthrough that they showed me this, it was like last night they showed me this, after a long time of going back and forth and trying to figure out what the right balance is, I realized, wow, this is because so many of us have shut ourselves down, and we had this people-pleasing wound that had been grown off of being in abusive situations where we were constantly shut down, that now when we come into spirituality, we can sometimes think that responding like that is a good thing, when actually it's still our woundedness, and we must alchemize it, because if we don't alchemize it, we don't access the fullness of our hearts. And right now, a lot of us, our guides are really focusing on us clearing our heart chakras, because it's through the clearance of that, like I said, you connect to your divine contracts. And many of you are getting ready to move to the next level of calling in your divine partnerships in love and in life. And in order for that to happen, what resonance you send out, for it not to be toxic, it must be sent out in clarity. It must be sent out in purity of heart. Okay? And another thing is that, and I'll get back to the vibrational scale in a minute, but another thing is that so many of you came into this realm just really open, beautiful beings. You wore your heart on your sleeves, and time again, I did a post about this earlier, time and time again, you were discounted, you were undervalued, people didn't see the beauty in that because they'd been so programmed out of their divinity that they saw it as a hindrance and a weakness, and they made you feel weak and stupid and ignorant and all manner of things. They'd belittle you because you were an open being who was trusting, and you wore your heart on your sleeve, and you believed in the goodness of others because that's the truth, the true integrity of your heart. And being here and having been through all that you've been through, especially in these past few years, with all of this these constant attacks, and then the gang stalking, and then waking up and recognizing that the very ones that are doing this to you are the ones that you actually gave your heart to. Like that's a mind fuck, and it's an energetic heart fuck too. And that's exactly what it was supposed to be. And in that, a lot of us get afraid to open our hearts again and to be who we are unashamedly and unabashedly, and to actually give a fuck and care. Because we've been shamed so much about caring too much, or being too kind, or being naive. That's another thing they like to call beings like us. And it's not true. There's nothing wrong with you. You lived in a fucked up world. You're too good for this world. Like Vincent van Gogh, he was one that was coming through a lot in my energy back in January. And I always think of that song, that line in the Don McLean song, this world was never meant for one as wonderful as you. And that's the case for so many of us. This world never deserved us. This world doesn't know how to handle our value. It doesn't know how to handle our purity of heart, or it didn't. But now we're creating a new world, a new resonance. And so we have to get through all of the densities and the trauma that shamed us and made us feel stupid for caring, and shut us down so many times and made us feel like what we had to say or feel was too much or wasn't important. It's not true. So I guess tonight what I really am wanting to come on here and talk about is how this ability to alchemize your own emotions, to feel good in yourself, is what's important. It doesn't matter what the love and lighters tell you you're supposed to be or to do. It doesn't matter what the other spiritualists tell you you're supposed to be and to do. If you don't feel right in your own soul, if you are not connected to your light and you have the ability to shine and be you unashamedly and unabashedly, with the guidance that's been given to you by these other beings or these other programs, etc., then it's not what's going to set you free. This is why Ascension is such we can, come to one another, and we can, relate and relay what we're going through, but it's intensely individual. It's the hermit energy, because nobody but you and the divine and your guides can really get you, and even when another being really gets you, the reason a lot of the time they get you is because you share a resonance, but it's also because you're able to articulate and express and communicate the fullness of who you are. And it's time to get back to that. It's time, because only when we can fully be ourselves and maintain the balance within our own fields are we going to begin to call in the things that feel good. You see, in order for you to attract things that feel good, you must feel good in your own skin. You get what I'm saying? And I started talking about this, I think it was in Taurus season. One of your birthrights as a divine being, you have a right to be at peace in your own body. You have a right to be at peace in your own body. You have a right, I'm going to say it 3 times, to be at peace in your own body. Peace is your birthright. It's your birthright. And what does that mean? I'm not just talking about your physical body, although that's really important, because what happens for so many of us is because of, the state of this world, and the amount of trauma that we've been through and not being used to these densities, most of the time we've left our bodies. And when we heal, we have to come back into our bodies, right? But I'm not just talking about your physical body. I'm talking about your emotional body, your emotional fields. And I'm talking about your mental body, your mental fields. Okay? And yeah, I'm talking about your, spirituality and how that is beyond and above. But in terms of the things that you're actually really feeling every single second of the day, and the information that you are receiving and communicating with that helps you to think and feel certain ways about yourself, those are the three main ones, right? I brought out a picture I did also about the energy fields, because for me, like the diagrams of all the other, how they show you all of the bodies that you have, for me, it was very confusing. And the way my guides were breaking it down for me, they were breaking it down for me. I had a mentor that taught me that we have 4 bodies, but my guides broke it down to me more like 5 bodies. But the 4 bodies are also connected with the tarot energies. That's why we have 4 suits. You have the spirit, which is wands. You have the mental, which is swords. You have emotions, which is cups. And you have your physical or material body in reality, which is pentacles. But then my guides also said you have a 5th body, but it's more like an interconnection of the mental and the emotional, and that's your psyche. That's your psyche. That's where the mind and the heart meet to create it's almost like a Venn diagram, to create like another world within 2 worlds. Okay. But I have this here, right? When I was trying to make sense of it, they gave me a diagram. So that's the physical, right? That's a physical material reality. This would be the emotional body, the mental body, and this would be everything outside, sublimated in what you could call your spiritual or etheric body or experience, which is so much more than just one body. But it's easier for me to condense it in that form, and maybe it will be easier for you to get to. So it's really important that you maintain the integrity of learning these parts of yourself. So learning how your mental body is influenced or infiltrated, or learning what, as I say to you all the time, what thoughts are yours and what thoughts have been imprinted on you, programmed on you, spellcast on you, projected onto you, and what it is you actually think. And then even more importantly, how do those things, those mental energies, make you feel? Because anything that doesn't make you feel good, doesn't connect you with love, joy, and peace, which are divine energies. I'm not talking about happiness or temporary or temporal, pleasure. I'm talking about that balance in your soul where you feel good. In the midst of whatever's going on, you feel good. You feel centered. That's how you're supposed to feel all the time. So every time you're taken off of that place, you need to to get back into that place. And this is why it's especially important right now, because there's a lot of there's a lot of deep rooted energies that are coming up right now that are actually it's very tricky, because they are the roots of the programs that have run us all this time. And it can be very finicky, because they are the roots, it can almost sometimes feel as if they are us. I hope I'm making sense when I say that. Because they're so deeply rooted in our realities, we may have been able to easily discern the chain of energies that they've created. That was more obvious to us when we started to heal, but these roots might not be so. And when these roots get combined with the mental energies of programming that are such a big part of our reality, especially through media, and then if you are ascending and you're listening to different messages of how it is you're supposed to ascend, all of that converges. And we have to be very, very real about how all of these things affect us as individuals. I hope I'm making sense to you guys. I hope you're following me, because a big part of this next step of clearing these heart blocks is being able to recognize when energies are coming into your field because they want to repress you and get you to underexpress your emotion. And because you're used to it, and because so many of us were told, I know I was told, this was a lot of study for me, and so much listening to my guides and going back and forth, because I remember just last year this time, for the first time ever, having been mistreated and just taken it and thought, oh, I'm the bigger person. And my guides were like, no, this person did this. Go and yell at them, because they've done it before, and they keep on doing it because they think that it's okay to walk all over you. It's okay, So-La-Rah, to rise into anger and maybe shock this person a bit, so they know never to do this shit to you again, because you've already said it nicely. You get what I'm saying? So there are beings who you will tell them things, and they will continually take liberties because they think that it's okay to push you around, because they don't respect you or value you. And it's okay in those places to rise up and express that anger. It must come out. And really what they're trying to do is transfer all of their woundedness onto you and make you the scapegoat and be like, here, you deal with this because I can't be bothered. That's not your job. That was never your job. But some of us signed up knowing that that was what we'd have to deal with in order to get to this place. But it's not your job to transmute people's shit. Not unless you want to. And in all frankness, I've said this before, but I'll say it again, it bears repeating. In all frankness, when you transmute another being's shit, you are doing their soul a disservice. You can love and light a person into darkness. And what do I mean by that? I mean, we are all beings who must now take responsibility for our own energy and what we create and miscreate. And when we miscreate, we must see that we miscreated. We can't have someone constantly coming and taking that from us so we don't learn the lesson. That means we don't ascend. This is why so many of you had it so hard, because you are the apple of Source's eye. And it was imperative that you did ascend. But some of these people, they've been so spoiled and they think that they're living it up, and it's their judgment that they've been getting away with things. And when you take on the brunt of allowing them to get away with things, when they need to deal with the energies that they dish out so freely but don't want to take responsibility for, you are also hindering their ability to ascend. It's an important thing to know, because we must learn now how energy works. We must learn about 23 on my clock. That's Aquarius energy, 23. We must learn how the Two of Pentacles. We must learn that it's not okay for someone else to put shit in our fields that is essentially going to put us out of balance because it makes them feel more comfortable. It makes them feel lighter, but they're actually bypassing what it is they need to deal with. It's almost like, would you let your neighbor, this is the analogy they're showing me, or the vision, the picture they're giving me. Would you allow your next door neighbor to come and be like, ugh, I can't be bothered to take my trash out. Here, let me just put it in your house. You just hold on to my rubbish for me. And when you take your rubbish out, take mine out too. Can you do that for me? And you just sit down there and the whole time you're living there, you're just like constantly taking their rubbish out for them with yours. You'd get upset pretty quickly, right? But we do that to our energy fields all the time. And we call it love. That's not love. That's self-betrayal. At a certain point, it's self-betrayal. You must give to people the responsibility of what it is they are choosing to create with their energy. You must give it back to them. And sometimes, unfortunately, because of the stubbornness of the being, you must give it back with a kick. So the message is loud and clear. Don't come into my home and leave your rubbish for me to take downstairs. I am not here to cater to you. I'm not here for you to stink up my home with your rubbish. It's your rubbish. You've accumulated it through living. It's not my stuff. Take it down yourself. Take it down yourself. And if they continued to do that in your home, you'd get mad. And then if they continued, even when you got mad, you'd call the authorities. Do you get what I'm saying here? It's not okay to hold on to other people's mess and create blocks in your own energy field. And we know that on a level from what it is we've been dealing recently. And yet so many times we still fall into the trap because we think we're being the bigger person, or we're supposed to turn the other cheek, or because it's somehow like high vibrational. It's not high vibrational. Let me break it down to you and tell you why it's not high vibrational. And we're going to use a vibrational scale for this little lesson. And I'm hoping so many of you are going to get free tonight. Okay? Because this is such a pesky one on the Ascension journey, and it comes up time and time again. I still deal with this. I'm still dealing with it now. You get what I'm saying? It's something that we're going to have to keep on alchemizing as we clear our fields and we call back the integrity of our energy, and we feel what our true energy feels like. We're going to have to consistently do this until we don't. You get what I'm saying? So, okay. So shame. Let's go back to the vibrational scale. Shame is the lowest resonating energy. So if you were looking at this from the point of view of states of matter, like I was saying, shame would be ice. Okay? Enlightenment at the top would be water vapor. This right here, the heart chakra and everything, hold on a second. The center would be water. It would be fluid. And as you know, or let me refresh your scientific minds if you don't remember, when you are dealing with states of matter of water, and water is vapor, because it's gas, it can go anywhere. Its particles have the room to go wherever they want. It becomes more condensed and contained and constricted when that vapor condenses. You know, like when the kettle goes on and the steam comes down, it condenses and turns into actual water. It's now in liquid form. And so only what can be held in a glass, for example, water will take on the form of any container it's put in. So there's still a fluidity. There's still an expansion there. It can only really be, but it can be contained. Vapor can't be contained. You can't take vapor and put it in a container. And this is important for someone to know tonight, because a lot of you were put into containers. We've talked about this. You were put in jars. You've been cast into prisons. You've been put in boxes, like people performing that kind of magic here on earth, but also etherically and spiritually, you've been binded in these energies, right? So we're not trying to be contained anymore. We want to be like vapor. We want to be up here the majority of the time. in love, joy, peace, and states of enlightenment, which is really states of having an expanded consciousness that allows us to continue to grow in these energies. Okay, so water can be contained. Ice is solid, so the particles are all stuck together. They're constricted in a fort. That's what ice is, right? And so this is kind of what it's like here on the vibrational scale. So the lower you are, the more condensed and constricted. And when you think of condensed, it's small. These are the energies that are designed to make you be small and play small and stay in your corner and be in your place. And then these energies up here are vapor. It's where you can be big, you can expand further, you can test the waters, you can be who you are without fear, right? And then the ones in between is where you are able to you're kind of able to go in there and express, but it's with caution, but it's not even caution. It's more like it's with structure. It's where you can have a little bit more control, if that makes sense. And it's where you'd want to have control, because you still want to have like expansion, but it's where you want to, like, and when I say control, I'm talking about over self, not other beings, okay? Because that's witchcraft. Trying to control anything outside of self is actually a breach of universal law, and it's witchcraft. So when these beings, and witchcraft in the negative sense of the term, right? Because all is witchcraft, all is energy manipulation. But when beings try to force themselves into your fields, when you've told them they're not welcome, they try to force their opinions onto you, all of that stuff, it is actually a breach of universal law. Okay, we won't go into that right now, okay? So we have shame, we have guilt, we have apathy, which is when we're put in such discouraging states that we just don't want to move forward. That's what apathy is, okay? Then we have grief, which is like, you know what grief is. It's sadness, it's heaviness, it's necessary for working through energies, but it's not where you want to live. Do you want to constantly be in grief? No. But many people live in that place, right? So we have grief, and it's heavy, right? Fear, desire, anger, pride, courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, and then love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. So I will often tell people, if you are living in a state of expansiveness, and you are living in divine alignment mostly, and so you're mostly in love, joy, peace, but you use a vibrational scale to learn your lessons and come back up, because I tell people all the time, shame is not a bad emotion, but shame is not where you were designed to live and stay, because shame is a trap if you stay down too long, because it is a heavy energy that constricts your field. Your energy field is huge. Shame puts you in a box, okay? It solidifies you. It crystallizes your fields when you stay there. The point of shame is to show you where you have gone against universal law. And universal law is the golden law. Love yourself and love others. Pretty much. That's what it is. Love yourself. And when you actually love yourself, you will love others. And when you love others, you'll also love the earth, because you love yourself. And you know that the earth is you, and others are you, and you are them, and you are the earth. You can't really love others in the earth if you don't love yourself. So shame is there to show you when you are in states of self-betrayal, when you've done something that is wrong against another and you need to make it right, or when you've done something that you shouldn't have done against the earth and you need to put it right. Shame is there to show you where you have fallen short in order for you to feel bad enough to amend your behavior and stop and rise back again in love, joy. You're not here to stay in shame and to pay penance for your mistake like so much religion has taught you. That's not it. That's not godly. God doesn't want you in a box. God wants you learning your lesson, expanding, moving into love, joy, and peace so that you can actually share that with others, because that ultimately is what helps to grow divinity on earth as it already is in the heavens. And when I say God, I'm talking about source. Okay, I'm talking about source energy. You know, for some of you who still have issues with that word, I get it. I get it. I did too. I'm still getting over it because of my own, again, it's a personal thing, my own wounding. And here's the truth. Here's the truth. It's the ego and humans that care about labels. It really is. Higher vibrational energies don't give a toss about labels for the most part. God doesn't care if you call him God, Allah. It doesn't matter. What matters is the frequency. We get very stuck on words here in this realm. We get very stuck on words, and words are important to help us express. I say that as a very mercurial person, but we can't get, again, we must have fluidity. We must be able to flow. We must be flexible. Okay? So if you are in a state of living in love, joy, and peace, and you know your energy is expanded and you're feeling good, and then some miserable sod comes and tries to drag you down into feeling bad for feeling good, because there's a lot of that right now. There's a lot of joy thieves and stealers of joy out there right now. They see you being happy, they see you healing, and it's like, and I'm talking about complete fucking strangers. I'm seeing it so much right now. I had to mean mug a few of them today, because again, they think that they can come into your fields and just inject their misery into your energy, and you're just supposed to take it. And it's just like, no, I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm just going to give it back to you. I'm giving it back to you. I'm not going to give you any more than you gave me. I'm not going to be mean about it. I'm not going to harp on about it after I've gone. But if I'm walking with my children and you mean mug me, I'm just going to stop. I'm going to reflect directly back to you what you're doing to me. And it's going to shock the hell out of you. And it should, because you should have never brought that energy to me to begin with. You get what I'm saying? I refuse to hold people's foolishness in my fields. Not at this point of ascension. Okay? So if you're living your best life and you're in love, joy, peace, skipping to the movies, okay? And some miserable person sees you and you're just being you, happy, trying to spread joy. And they come here and they try to shame you for being that. What they're ultimately trying to do is inject their misery so that you become their company and you fall into the state of shame with them. Because shame is it's the ultimate repression of self and the repression of living in this state. And you're not here to stay and chill with someone else who also has the same keys that you have to get free. You're not here to stay in shame. You're not here to take their shame and to transmute it like the example I gave you where they're putting their trash in your apartment. You're here at this point, a lot of you, to be a divine mirror. And you've ascended enough to be able to do that. So in other words, you give back to them exactly what they're giving to you. In other words, what you're actually saying to the universe when you do that is, I don't accept that into my fields. This person is trying to impose or enforce their crap into my energy, and I'm saying a big fat no to that. I've been there, I've done that, I've worn the t-shirt for many, and I've given all the t-shirts back, and I got me a new wardrobe, and it's full of joy, and it's full of delight, and it's full of maybe green. I don't know, maybe some of you like to wear green, like align your colors with your chakras and all this other stuff. Maybe you like to do that, but what we're not doing anymore, is wearing garments of shame. We're not doing that anymore. And what we're not doing also is shutting ourselves down and not expressing ourselves because it makes other people feel uncomfortable. Do you know how many years and decades we've had to feel uncomfortable for these same people and beings and energies? It's enough. It's time for them now to deal with their miscreations and for you to move forward so that they can alchemize that energy and come forward too. They can't come forward until they alchemize that energy. You can alchemize that energy for them all you want. But what you're doing is you're not allowing them to learn the lesson that they need to learn to actually ascend. And so in doing so, we're actually growing more anti-ascension or darkness energies. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So it's enough. I hope I'm making sense tonight, because this is like I know it's not going to be a popular message, but I'm not here to be popular. I'm here to speak the truth. I'm here to speak the truth and to get free for myself and to inspire all of you to get free too. And that's another thing that's coming up right now too, is throat chakra blocks, because that's always the case when it comes to wanting to express. And again, the throat chakra is connected very much to your mental energies and air energies and your ability to express. And a lot of this stuff that's coming through is to do with, again, Gemini season. So I've been feeling it a lot today. No, I'd say the past 2 days especially. A lot of trying to shut divine beings down, because if they can get you not to properly express how you feel, then they get you to block your own heart. They get you to repress and suppress until you become depressed, because you are crystallizing emotions that are supposed to flow out of you and not become a part of you, because they're not yours. And the reason they feel uncomfortable in your fields, the reason they take you down, is because they're foreign to you. That is a very clear indication that it doesn't belong to you. Okay? So don't let anyone try to take you out of this state and pull you here so that you can take on their shame and alchemize it so that and stay down here longer than you should be. When people dish out certain things to you, you give it back to them in love, in kindness, in humor, whatever it takes for you to bring the energies back into balance and to recover your state of feeling good with integrity. You do that. You do that. And there's a scripture that speaks about this too. Jesus said, and this is where it gets funny, because all of these Christians that run around, evangelism isn't even biblical. Okay, so all of these beings who are so sure they're doing the work of God, and most of them are Christian, or their energies are rooted in that kind of a Judeo-Christian teaching. And especially right now, they're running around trying to force themselves and telling you how to be saved, and you're under judgment and all this other stuff. And they have to run in your fields and tell you that. or tell you that they're bringing judgment to you, because there's a lot of that in the spiritual community with these beings who haven't properly done the work to heal the wounds that keep them attracted to the same kind of doctrines that are dressed up in different ways. Okay, they're running around trying to bring hellfire and brimstone into your life, and that's not biblical, and that's not God. You see, God's not going to chase any being to bother them. That's not God. God is chill. God will let you create your own destruction, because you will all by yourself. You don't need any, if given the chance, you don't need other beings. I'm not going to go down that road, but I will say that all of this coming into people's faces and telling you things and all that, don't trust that energy. There's a lot of it right now. Don't trust that energy, because what it is it's someone trying to control your emotions, because they're so out of control in their own. They have to control how you feel. They have to control how you think. They have to control your lifestyle, because they're so out of control in their own reality. And really what they're trying to make you do also is alchemize some of that shit, and you're not here to do that. You're not here to do that. So be very aware, because we're at a different time now in these energies where we're having to learn new truths, and this is just it. When you are a divine being with an expansive consciousness, you are ever in a state of expansion. So what may have been true for you 2 weeks ago may not be true for you now, and that's okay. Allow yourself to expand past that place. You know, it may have been better for you, safer for you to be more in a state of taking certain energies. Maybe it made you feel better at a certain point. But at a certain point, if it's not making you feel better anymore, it's time to take a new direction. It's time to stand up for yourself. And this is what this Mars and Leo energy is about. I keep on telling people, the Mars and Leo, Venus and Leo energy is about fighting for all of the parts of your inner child that was so severely wounded. And now it's time to really see the roots of those wounds and to no longer accept behaviors that exploit them. That's what it's about. But I'm going to probably, am I done with this? I think so, but let me just show you. So if you're up here and someone's trying to drag you down here, okay, that is actually taking you into a lower vibration. But if you're in shame and you're trying to come back up here, you are raising your vibration. So why am I saying all of that? If you are up here and someone comes into your field and tries to drag you here, if you move up into anger, are you not raising your vibration? Is anger, look, even pride. Anger and pride are here. In other words, all these energies are here to help you alchemize your emotions and the situations that come up. Okay, so that pride and that courage energy, it's connected to the heart, which is connected to Leo. And the pride is also connected to Leo, but also Virgo. So what it's saying is that there's a time to rise up in your self-value to a point where, for some people, it might even come across as being prideful. But a lot of the time it only comes across as being prideful to them because they're so used to you being all like accommodating and weak for them. You get what I'm saying? But it's not being prideful. It's operating and having enough self-value to not take their shit. Is what it is. And the anger is also there to help you to see where it is that they've crossed the boundary and it's not okay. You don't go there with me. It's not okay for you to say those things to me. It's not okay for you to come into my fields and be like that. It's not okay. And it's not okay not because of some social doctrine, religious rule. It's not okay because it doesn't make me feel good. And that, if you're dealing with a person who cares about you, should be enough. It should be enough. And if it's not, then you need to rethink the relationship with that person. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there because I said again I wasn't going to be here for long. Here we go, another hour. I'm going to put some of these slides. I'm going to start sharing them on the community board. And yes, I want to remind you guys again about the Daily Alchemy Portal Open Week. It's starting this Thursday. I don't know if I'm going to be back here before then. For all other inquiries, all my information will always be in the description box below. I thank you for all the ways that you so love and you help me to expand in my own light and my value. Thank you so much for your generous donations. Thank you for your words of encouragement to myself and to one another. Thank you for doing the healing work because when you heal yourself, you open dimensional doorways for others to walk through and to see more clearly how they can heal themselves too. So I thank each and every one of you for every way you have contributed to the collective healing that is making all of this possible. You're important, you're vital, how you feel is important, what you think is important, and if you're around people who don't make you feel important when you express how you feel and you express your thoughts, then they're not your fucking people. Okay? So I'm gonna love you and leave you. I wish you guys love, joy, peace, vitality, harmony, balance, stability, focus, drive, motivation, your recovered creativity, every beautiful thing that when you're walking in divine alignment is automatically yours. It's your birthright. It's your birthright. Take care. Until next time, be well.